All right, I must introduce the man with the green thumb. Good morning, Daryl.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Not too bad. I can see the smile on your face at the moment because the amount of rain that we're having is absolutely fabulous, isn't it?
It is, and I'd like to extend a happy Easter to everyone, including yourself.
Thank you.
And I hope those people that wandered around their garden early on the Sunday morning found a couple of Easter eggs in amongst their cabbages and etc.
The dog did.
You mentioned about the rain in the news there a minute ago, and I just found here my records with Eltham, Ellenbeck. In January we had 109 millimetres, and then in February and March was 3 millimetres each.
Right, that's not much, is it?
It's not in the hot part of the season. You know, the ground dried out dramatically and started to crack open, and it was quite devastating. And hand watering does survive a few of the plants, but some still die, and it's a laborious sort of job to have to do. But and there's a technique in watering as well.
And I was doing a little bit of research, and in the first 5 days of April, we have received 62 millimetres of rain, and the average total for the month is 63, since records began in 1907. So we received a month's rain in 5 days, so we should be, and we've got rain nearly every day of the week this week, so we're going to exceed that average by quite a bit.
And that's a good thing this week, and if anyone's putting plants and seeds into the gardens, it's just perfect timing. You don't need hot weather to dry out the ground and upset the process of seeds starting to shoot, or other plants that you put in are under a bit of stress when you replant them. So this weather like we're going to get for the next week is just ideal.
So you were going to talk about proper watering, but at this point in time, the best thing to do would be probably loosen up the ground.
Well, it is, yes. I had asked people or suggested they do it a little earlier than this, and anyone that's done it, that amount of rain we've had this month so far has got down fairly deep into the soil, Bill, and it's ideal. It's fantastic now. If you go to somewhere where you haven't loosened the soil before, you'll find that it's really still quite dry underneath, not very far down.
Yeah, but particularly in our area where clay is the prominent soil.
That's true, yes. Anyway, look, with the watering, a lot of people use the hose. You know, we all love it, standing there holding the hose, watering the garden. But you've got to be really careful what you do there, because if you water too hard, too much pressure, you'll expose the roots of the existing plants, and that's not a good thing. And if you've got young plants in, seeds that is, or young plant seedlings, you can wash them out of the ground. So you can destroy them completely. That's not a good thing to do. So you've got to cover your young seeds, I'd say, with some straw or paper. Hot weather prevails to retain the moisture. You know, it's no good going out there every couple of hours and watering the garden, because you will upset all the seeds that are in the ground. So if you cover it with some straw and things, you'll find that the moisture will last a lot longer in the garden beds.
And the weather is still maintaining a reasonable amount of heat, 21, 18, 19, 19, 20, so it's still rather mild, isn't it?
It is, but you will have noticed that you've had to add another dog to the bed, you know, keep warm during the night. Gets quite cold at night now, so an extra dog solves that problem.
Because it's getting down to 9 degrees minimum during the week and up to 15.
Yeah, no, it's ideal weather. Things are growing quite well. Those existing plants, you know, vegetables are going well. I've got autumn's a great time to put things into the plant ready for the veggies over the winter period of time. And you can put in nearly any vegetable now. Cabbages, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, broad beans, carrots, parsnips, lettuces, beetroot, rocket, and a lot of the other spices you might use in your cooking as well.
Yeah.
So I've actually got a few cabbages growing. They're the brassicas, big broad leaves. They handle the winter time when there's not so much sun around. But I've got some growing very well at the moment, so I'm looking forward to some cabbages in the not too distant future. Cauliflower plants are going well as well, and I haven't put any Brussels sprouts in because I found they get a lot of thrip and stuff in them. I've never had much success without trying to spray, and I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can put broad beans in. A lot of people have said, broad beans, I don't like them, but they add a bit of potassium into the soil, so you can still grow them. You can always give them to the neighbours or dig the plants in earlier into the soil for a bit of compost that way. But they're great plants to grow. They take a fair while, and they grow in over the winter, and they handle all the frosts as well. It doesn't seem to worry them too much. Cabbages and collies are the same with the frost. It doesn't seem to worry them unduly.
And how big do you get your cabbages to grow in of them?
Well, there's varieties. There's a sugarloaf, which is sort of a pointed cabbage that's fairly quick, and that'll probably, it'll fit in two hands cupped together. But there's the drum cabbage, which is really good. Last year I grew those. They're pretty hard seedlings to get, but I did manage to get some, and they were 30 centimetres across. They were fantastic and very dense.
Oh, right. You can kick them around the garden for football.
Well, you could. They're sort of fairly round. If you're on a sloping block, you can just roll them down to the bottom and come up down there. And no, they're very good. And the cauliflowers I got onto were really good ones as well. They were, a couple were over 30 centimetres wide. They were huge.
Wow.
It was fantastic.
Well, you're doing something right.
Yeah, something was working well.
And
at the moment, I'm going to put broad beans in shortly.
Mm-hmm.
I've put in carrots. They're just breaking through the ground now, and it looks like a good strike. I've tried parsnips early on in January, and of course it's all pretty hot and that, and I was relying on hand watering, and they didn't come up. But they're a crop that takes 3 to 4 weeks to come through.
Right.
And you can only put them about a quarter inch under the soil.
Yep.
So very hard to nurture, really. So I've replanted those and put straw on the top. But this sort of weather should suit them. I'm hoping to get some good results out of that.
Do you have to thin your carrots out?
Oh, yeah, you do. Thin them out, for sure. You can do that fairly early on. When I put them in pretty thick now, and you can go out and start thinning them a little bit now. But later on, if you wait a bit, you can thin them out and get nice little young carrots. They're fantastic. They taste so beautiful, But thin them out to where you've got a couple of inches between the plants and let them grow and fatten up. That's what you've got to do.
Now, with your trellises for your climbing beans and things like that, do you add a bit of colour to the garden?
Yeah, well, you can put what they call sweet peas in, Bill, and plant those around, because the trellises at the moment, they've done their job for the season. So if you put the sweet peas in around the base of that, they'll grow up. And they grow pretty tall on a trellis, they grow well. And they've got such a variety of colour in that. And they had a bit of excitement, I think, to the garden, whereas most of our vegetables are fairly bland. But some of these things are great to grow in the garden. And it brings the bees along. There's still bees around here, even those cold mornings and that. You'll find a few bees around. And I think we've got to think about what we're planting in the garden. Some of the plants, the ladies like to plant some flowers and things like that attract the bees, and we've got to do that a little bit around the veggie garden as well, I believe.
Right. So, how much do the bees add to the pollination of all your veggies?
Oh, look, pretty much 100%. They're very, very necessary around the garden. You can do a lot of hand pollinating, but look, leave it to nature. It's the best way to go. And I'd seen in one carrot that's gone to seed, the carrot head went up, and I saw a lot of black ants on it, Bill, and I thought, why are they there? I couldn't work it out, and I thought, are they pollinators? And I've done some research on that, and I found that Australia-wide, that ants actually pollinate about 4.7% of plants and vegetables, and so very minimal.
Yeah.
They do, if you do see them on your plants, they're possibly doing a good job. So be careful what you do with a lot of these bees and other things. There's other moths and things that are flying around. There's other bees, blue-banded bees that come in and pollinate things as well, even tomatoes. And what you can do with tomatoes, you go out and give the tomato bushes a bit of a shake,
Yep.
and that'll send some of the pollen from the male part of the flower into the female part, and you get a better crop out of it doing that.
Oh, right. And you're pretty famous for your pumpkins.
Well, yes, it's been a bit disappointing this year, but I've only got about 8 out there in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that the neighbours like pumpkins. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do with them all. But
you can make
disappointing.
You can make Flo some pumpkin scones.
You can, yes, Lady Florence scones. We're lucky in a way. We've got a couple of Italian ladies around our neighbours and that like that. They see the vegetables growing and they get so excited and come in. I give them stuff and they go and make something and bring back a bottle of this and a few biscuits and things like that. So it's really good to share all that sort of thing and see what other people do with vegetables, how they process them for family food.
And what are some of the pumpkins that you've planted?
I've got Windsor Black, which is a huge pumpkin, grows really big and stores very well. It looks formidable, but its skin is fairly soft and it's got a beautiful orangey coloured flesh colour, and it's really great to eat. I've had Lady Florence out there a couple of times with a crosscut saw and an axe, and I just cut them up, and giving them away to the neighbours and so forth like that. So they're pretty rare. Yeah. And the Kent pumpkins this year, I've got them growing all over the wood, stacking up the garage and things like that, and there's about 6 of those growing. They're growing really well. They look real good. So my other pumpkins didn't do any good at all. I don't know what went wrong there.
And when's the best time to pick them?
This is always a question everyone asks, when's the best time to pick? Well, the Windsor Black, the vine had died, completely died, so I was able to harvest that one. But the Kent potatoes, the vines are still green, the leaves are still green. So just leave them alone until the leaves die off, and the vine, really you should wait till the vines die as well, and then you can cut them off about the stem about 6 inches from the pumpkin, and don't pick them up by the stem once you have started to harvest them. Otherwise you'll crack them around the top part, and then the bugs and things will get in there and they'll start to rot earlier than they should. So just be careful what you do there. If you can store them on their side, you can store them on their end. If you've got a shed where there's no rain and that around, to pill around the top of the stem, while you're storing them.
And you've got a number of fruit trees too in the yard, haven't you?
I have. I've got a few.
When's
I find them a huge challenge, Bill.
well,
The curl leaf on a couple of varieties, nectarines and peaches, and they just about kill off all the. I've tried to spray, tried to follow the instructions and things, but it hasn't really worked very well as far as I'm concerned. And I find that all the foliage will just about disappear,
right.
Fall off, and I'd go and pick them off actually, and put them in the green bin so they go and get heat treated somewhere else.
And when's the best time to cut them back so you can do a bit of treatment on them?
Once all the leaves are completely dropped, and still give it a little bit of time, but stop. You don't want the sap running through the stems and the trunks when you're going to cut it. So once that's all dry, and you can see the shape of the tree much easier then. So then you've got to go in and prune it all. So pruning is another art altogether. And some of the fruit grows on the previous growth stems, that's right, limb stems, and spurs, and some on the second year's growth. So you just got to be a little bit careful and try and do some research and find out what you've got and what year it produces fruit.
Right. All right, mate. We've just about run out of time. So you won't be doing much in the garden today unless you put your raincoat and gumboots on.
Oh, you can stand there and admire what's going on.
I thought you'd stand there and admire flow.
One of the fun things we've spoken about is children, getting people interested in children in your garden.
Yep.
And I was thinking about it yesterday, and I thought a lot of people are in flats and units and things like that, and they haven't got much room. So, look, as a parent, go and get a box or some big pots and put some soil and that into it, and then get your children interested by planting. Lettuce is a good plant to put in. You can either use seed or you can go and buy the plants and just put them into the pot. Another thing that's really good, buy a packet of radish seeds and put that into a pot, and they grow pretty quick, and then the little fellas will see there's a radish that they might like to eat. Some people don't like radishes, some do, but they're a good plant to grow, and get the children interested in growing some food. So you'll find kids learn so quickly and easily, and they're so attentive to everything. So help them a little bit as well.
Beautiful. All right, mate. Well, thank you very much, and I hope you haven't eaten too many Easter eggs. And hope Flo's well on the way to recovery now with her hip operation.
Thank you, Bill.
And
it went down quickly. I went down to Woolworths, standing there ready to put the goods through, and a lady goes over and said, "Oh, you want to see it? You want a Easter egg?" She said, "Easter bunny. I've got one here." She said, "They're free. This is from the company." Oh,
right.
That was Lady Florence was there on a walking stick, and the lady behind us in the line had her arm in a plaster, and so they gave her a free Easter egg as well. So I thought that was lovely.
Beautiful, mate. No worries. So someone's looking after you. That's the main thing.
That's right.
All right, thanks, Daryl, and we'll catch up with you in May, and we should have some good news regarding the soil and the weather.
That's right.
Beautiful. Thanks, Daryl.